But I'll tell you what feels really good. Having a Tooheys draft, a cold one, straight after the game.
Tooheys draft. Real taste, real beer.
That feels good.
Nobody does it better. Makes me feel sad for the rest. Nobody does it half as good as you. LJ Hooker, you're the best.
Whether you're buying or selling, talk to LJ Hooker.
Nobody does it better. LJ Hooker, you're the best.
You should shop at the liquor store.
You get a great selection at the right price every week at your local liquor stop store. This week, save with 2-litre Renmano casks, $5.99 each. Tyrrell's Long Flat Red and White, $5.99 each. Rumpole Tawny Port, $8.49. And Brown's Bin 60 Hermitage, Chablis and Moselle, $3.99 each. Check the yellow pages for your nearest liquor stop outlet. Stop, shop and save every week at your local liquor stop store.
If you're a fleet buyer and you're thinking about new cars, make sure you get a quote from Auto Village Holden.
Auto Village will come to your office and give you a valuation on the vehicles you have to trade.
They have the full range of General Motors Holden models available for immediate delivery.
Auto Village prices are the cheapest and the trade-ins are the biggest.
Auto Village Holden, 266 Hume Highway at Cabramatta.
Call them on 728 7333.
Auto Village for the right service and the right price.
Once again, a dummy half from that position. He takes off. Bad market offence that time. But then Kevin Waller seizes him and pulls him down 32 out from the Brisbane line. Kenny's a dummy half to Sterling. Back to Laurie. Sterling on the wraparound. Turns it inside the linear. This kid has split him. He's supported out wide. A little Jason Bell. Go, you little beauty, son. That's a great try. JC boy.
OK, footy fans, let's head up to Dodge City. Lane Park is the venue for the clash between the Tigers and the League Pacesetters, Brisbane. League 90 is brought to you by LJ Hooker, Auto Village Holden, Liquor Stop and Tooheys on Sydney's #1 footy station. Here's the Decibel duo, Hollywood and Zorba.
A very good afternoon. Welcome to Dodge City in Brisbane. Brisbane versus Balmain this afternoon. The Brisbane side, the Broncos, coached by Happy Joe Happy. Wayne Bennett. Paul Hoff is the fullback. Michael Hancock and Willie Kahn are on the wings. Dale Shearer and Chris Johns in the centres. Kevin Walters is the 5'8", Alan Langer the halfback, Terry Madison replacing Big Gino Miles in the lock forward position. Mark Hone and Andrew G are the second rowers. Gavin Allen and Greg Dowling are the props. Greg Dowling's the captain and Kerrod Walters is the hooker for the Brisbane Broncos. Here's Greg Hartley with the Balmain Tigers.
Yeah, coached by Warren Ryan. Gary Jack is the fullback. James Grant and Stephen O'Brien are the wingers. Timmy Brasher and Ian McCann the centre combination. Michael Neal is the 5'8" with Gary Freeman. Little Wiz the halfback. Wayne Pearce lock forward and captain. Matt Parrish and Paul Surinan are the two second rowers. Stephen Edmed and Bruce Maguire the two prop forwards, and bouncing Benny Elias the hooker.
And the referee is Bill Harrigan this afternoon. Reserve grade to the Brisbane Broncos by 30 points to 0. OK, the Broncos on the field. The Tigers will be on to a big boo shortly. Let's go now to our sideline eye, Tony Peters.
Very tense, Peter. Very tense Brisbane Broncos side onto the field. Balmain skipper Wayne Pearce spent the last 10 minutes revving the Tigers up. Warren Ryan gave Junior the role to try to pump the players up for the last few minutes. I don't think they need to do that. The stage is set. A full house. Absolutely perfect conditions, Pete. As I said before, the Broncos won the toss. No wind conditions whatsoever. Absolutely ideal. Brisbane Broncos unbeaten since late April. Just maybe that might come to an end today.
OK, let's check the lower grades quickly around the grounds. Tim Prentice.
Full-time reserve grade, North 16, Parramatta 6, President's Cup, Parramatta 20, North Sydney 12.
Brian Surtees.
Reserve grade, Gold Coast 17, defeated Illawarra 12. First grade, Gold Coast 6, Illawarra 2.
Mark Cashman.
Reserve grade finished with Cronulla 24, St George 8, while President's Cup was a 22-all draw.
Tony McGay.
Reserve grade, West 21 beat Newcastle 8 in President's Cup. West 21 beat Newcastle 14.
Phil Tressida.
Reserve grade, Eastern Suburbs 22 defeated South Sydney 10. President's Cup, South Sydney 22 defeated Eastern Suburbs 12.
Stand by for the national anthem. Thank you, Julie Anthony. And here at Lang Park in Brisbane, they've got a rendition of the national anthem taking place. Players standing still. We'll give it the respect it deserves. And there's an almighty roar from this huge crowd, a capacity crowd, and I have never seen so many young people at a football game. The Broncos are certainly the darling of the Brisbane city, and they've come out in their force this afternoon. What a game of football, uninterrupted on 2GB News Talk 873. It's days like this where I think I've got the best job in the world. This should be a fantastic game of football. Benny Elias to kick off for Balmain. Bright sunshine here at Lang Park. The Tigers revved up. Brisbane revved up. What a beauty. Here's Hollywood, and he's ready to go too.
I sure am. Benny Elias now centre field, ready to get it underway. Come on, you Tigers. Give it to him again, boys. Elias now.
Unbiased call this one.
Unbiased call it will be this afternoon. But I do have a preference. And there goes the boys with the big kicks waiting for the referee. There goes the television man getting Billy Harrigan underway. I don't believe it, but it is underway. And the ball will taken by Dowling, the skipper this afternoon. And he's immediately put to ground on the Brisbane quarter line. Now get up to play it to Kieran Wallace. Sends it across to Gavin Allen. He goes for a run of 8 metres before being put to ground up over the top by Bruce Maguire. Plays it back to Kieran Wallace across this time to Langer. Wide ball out to Dale Shearer. Shearer going to be wrapped up out wide by Neil and company, playing at 26 metres out from his own goal line. Kieran Wallace across to Langer, then on to Kevin Wallace. Good pass out to Chrissy Johns. He's trying to go forward, but again he's knocked down up over the top by big Paul Sirinen in a very, very strong tackle. Back it goes now to Willie Kahn. Andrew G trying to go forward, but he's knocked to the ground. We'll play the ball back. It goes to Kieran Wallace. A long pass to Hoff. He gets a kick downfield, and all the Brisbane side well and truly offside at this stage as the ball goes up, and it's taken by Freeman about 4 metres into his own side of the halfway line.
Okay, and here comes Dale Shearer through, and he takes Gary Freeman. Freeman standing there, and he was a sitting duck for Shearer.
Back now it's with Gary Jack trying to go forward. Oh, but he is knocked down too. In a strong tackle, Benny Elias at dummy half, sends it across to Wayne Pearce. He tries to break the line, but Langer's over the top of him on the halfway line. Benny Elias again at dummy half across to, this time Ed Med charging forward, still going forward. Mark Hone there to pull him down 8 metres over the halfway line in Brisbane territory. Benny Elias at dummy half across to Freeman, out to Sirinen. Oh, and he is taken by Andrew G. Head on tackle that one. Gary Jack at dummy half. Benny Elias getting his kicking game into order with a long, long high one across to the wing of Willie Kahn. And Paul Hoff back into the in-goal area. Oh, he just knocks it out the back door. Steve O'Brien Peter going through at 100 mile an hour.
Yeah, and he was very lackadaisical there, the big giraffe in the in-goal area there, Paul Hoff. And going through was Steve O'Brien, putting a lot of pressure on Hoff there. Hoff doesn't look 100% to me. Good start to this game here at Lang Park, and the Broncos under pressure early. Sideline eye, Tony Peters.
Yes, there's been a doubt about Hoff all week, Pete, but you notice they're kicking away from him, maybe making him stretch out, so obviously they're aware he's carrying an injury.
Yeah, here's a player that's playing well in Gary Jack, and jumping Jimmy Jack goes now, and he races up Kerrod Walters around the legs, and Kerrod Walters makes the tackle.
Getting up to play the ball back down to Elias. His pass is a shocker to Parrish, and Brisbane are extended the advantage. Terry Madison now at dummy half to Andrew G. Does a 360, takes off from the back of the ruck, and he's still knocked down 10 metres short of the halfway line. Kerrod Walters at dummy half. Sends it across.
Kerrod Walters, for God's sake.
Well, it's a matter of pronunciation. I've been calling him that for a long time, and so have you.
No, and I had 20 complaints. It is Kerrod, K-E-R-R-O-D.
Kerrod Walters.
That's it.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I am.
Goes across the Langer. Straight out now to Kevin Walters. He's going to be wrapped up just short of the halfway line. One tackle left to go to the Brisbane side. Dale Shearer at dummy half, sends it across to Allen. Gets around Sirinen and gets a kick in downfield. It's a shocker. And going back for Freeman, he picks it up. He's passing across to Gary Jack, starts a bit of a run. Shearer goes up for him. He offs now to O'Brien. O'Brien tries to get mobile too, but he's very well put to ground just outside the Balmain quarter line. Neil at dummy half for the Balmain side, across to Freeman. Good pass to Benny Elias. Elias keeps it alive through McCann, juggles it, tries to get mobile, but he is knocked to the ground too by Langer. We'll play it just inside the Balmain quarter line.
Good defence by the Broncos. Rugged defence early in this game, and I don't think it'll be too long before Balmain kick downfield. And it's Freeman now outside to Bruce Maguire, and he's put down on a solid tackle by the Brisbane captain, and it's Greg Dowling.
Oh, and Bill Sirinen going through. He's caught one over the top by Gavin Allen, and they're all into it now. Well, Parrish has come in, no blows at this stage, just pushing and shoving, and the referee ordering them to separate. Andrew G smack dab in the middle of it.
He certainly is. Well, this is the moment of truth for these Brisbane forwards today, and they want to prove how tough they are this afternoon. And let's have a look at what's happening here. Gavin Allen, who's been throwing plenty in the early tackles here. He was on the ground and he lashed out with his foot, and it'll be a penalty to the Balmain side from referee Bill Harrigan. So Harrigan right on the spot there, and he's talking to Andrew G and also to Gavin Allen, and it'll be a penalty to the Balmain Tigers. 0-0 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. Harrigan in the cauldron. That is Dodge City this afternoon, but he'll handle it okay. Let's check the scores on the Mitsubishi scoreboard around the grounds. Tim Prentice.
North and Parramatta 0-0.
Brian Surtees.
Gold Coast 6, Illawarra 2.
Mark Cashman.
Nice and willing here at Cogra. St George and Cronulla 0-0.
Tony McGay.
West 2, Newcastle 0, very punishing.
Phil Tressida.
A 0-0, Eastern Suburbs and South Sydney.
Okay, back at Dodge City. Balmain in possession, 40 metres out from the Brisbane Broncos goal line.
Headman up now, 32 away from the Brisbane goal line. Back to Freeman, gives it across to Maguire. Dummies, tries to go back inside. He had Neil on the outside, but Benny Elias again a dummy half from that position. He goes on his own, has coughed up possession, picked up by Surinan on the run through, but a penalty given to the Balmain side, and he was hanging on in the play the ball.
Okay, hanging on in the play the ball and not standing in front of the marker. It was Greg Dowling, penalised there by referee Bill Harrigan. He's complaining, but here's a shot at goal to be taken by the Balmain side. Sideline eye, Tony Peters.
Desperate measures by the Broncos to contain Benny Elias already.
Yeah, certainly moving right onto Elias there, and it is Tim Brasher lining this one up on the quarter line and around about 14 metres in from the sideline. So midway between the uprights and the sideline, Tim Brasher with a pressure kick here at Lang Park. At school only a year ago, this young fellow, but to my mind, he's got ice blocks in his veins. A very good young player who handles the pressure well. He's not the best goal kicker in the world, but pressure is something that doesn't worry him. If he misses it, it'll be a lack of ability in the goal kicking caper, not pressure.
Okay, the boos go up right on the Brisbane quarter line. Tim Brasher comes in, it's a shocker, gone well away, taken by Dale Shearer on the far side of the ground. He beats Edmed with a good step, gets around Parrish, tries to get around another one, but eventually Maguire catches up with him, and Brisbane are now trapped inside their own quarter line on tackle one. Kerrod Waller's now a dummy half across to Gavin Allen, gone without it. Little Michael Neal for the Balmain side comes up with a leather, he'll get up to play it. Benny Elias a dummy half, he offloads out there to Freeman, goes to Parrish, a long cut-out pass, finds McCann on the burst out wide. He keeps it alive, back it goes now to Wayne Jr. Pearce, he offloads to Ben Elias, keeping it alive through Freeman. Freeman along with up over the top, Willie Kahn, an intercept, and Willie Kahn has taken off, and nobody will catch Willie Kahn. There he goes, over the 10, 7, 8, and he goes over for a Broncos try, and it was a shocking pass over the top.
Well, 7 minutes into the game and the Bronco fans have erupted. Willie Kahn has grabbed an intercept and he has raced almost 3/4 of the length of the field. The pass out wide and Willie Kahn swooped in. Had he not taken it, it would have been a try to Balmain. He took the odds and the young winger stretched right out and he's got plenty of toe, and the try scored by Willie Kahn. The pass was meant for Tim Brasher out wide, but Kahn swooped it and Brasher just stood there with his head bowed, and Willie Kahn raced 3/4 of the length of the field to score for the Brisbane Broncos, and Gary Jack chased him all the way but couldn't get to him, so that's a great start for the Brisbane Broncos. Willie Kahn, the try scorer, from an intercept in the 7th minute of play.
Dale Shearer now 10 metres out from the Balmain goal line to kick or attempt the extra 2 points after that magnificent run. Pete said 3/4 of the field it was too, right down on the quarter line. It was a high pass, no way in the world Tim Brasher could have gotten to that one, and Gerard and young Willie Kahn, as Peter said, took the options and off he went. Boy, can he scoot.
He certainly can. Dale Shearer lining it up.
10 metres out, a little to the left-hand side. Kicking towards the Winfield end of the ground on that big Mitsubishi scoreboard. Yes, I nearly did it, son.
Oh, you did do it. Don't say you nearly did it.
That's what they call the Winfield Hill up there. There goes the kick. He's got the 2 points.
Okay, Dale Shearer 1 from 1. Brisbane 6. Lead Balmain 0 after 7 minutes at Lang Park. Let's check them around the grounds on that Mitsubishi scoreboard for Footy Tab. Tim Prentice.
North and Parramatta 0-0.
Brian Surtees.
Gold Coast Illawarra 6-0.
Mark Cashman.
St George and Cronulla 0-0.
Tony McGay.
West 2, Newcastle 0.
Phil Tressida.
Eastern Suburbs 2, South Sydney 0.
Okay, sideline eye, Tony Peters.
Oh, the look on Warren Ryan's face told a story. Petey just shook his head in disbelief. That definitely wasn't on that Gary Freeman pass.
It certainly wasn't, and the pass from Freeman intercepted, and it's a 6-0 lead to the Broncos. Penalty to the Balmain side, passing while held in possession of the football, and somebody mouthing off at the referee, so that's made it a simple kick at goal. He was well held by 3 players, Terry Madison, and he got the ball away to Alan Langer, and then one of the Brisbane players said something, and Harrigan has marched him, and it's a penalty right in front of the uprights.
Yes, the penalty kick now to be taken by Timmy Brasher.
There's no doubt that he was
the
down.
ruling was correct. You're dead right. 3 blokes hanging on him. He stood there forever and a day. Then the call was on, so he decided to offload. He's got pinched for it and wants to whinge about it.
Yeah, well, the penalty given, and then somebody else saying something, and marched another few metres.
Okay, 12 metres out now, Tim Brasher. A little to the left-hand side, kicking to the 4X. Hill at the other end of the ground.
Greg, why don't you say that is south where he's kicking
well,
it?
I don't
the
know
other
where
one's
I am
north.
up here.
Oh, you don't know where you are when you're at home.
I'm an old salt.
You're an old thing.
I'm an old salt.
Yeah, I wouldn't go outside the heads with you.
You've been outside the hedge with me, but it
yeah,
took
but
you
in
by
the
the
Queen
Scots
Mary,
to get the courage.
In the Queen Mary.
Timmy Brasher, 12 metres out. Again, the booze and the intimidation. Well, they try to. What can you do with this one, Timmy boy? You're only 12 metres out, son. There goes the booze again. Oh, he's hit the upright, back into Michael Neal's arms. Out to McCann, and Balmain in possession on tackle 1, 8 metres out from the Brisbane goal line.
Well, they may have to bring Courier into this game. They could have thrown that one over, and it hit the upright. And I said earlier that he didn't feel pressure. You're a goose, Zorba. He is feeling pressure.
Back now, it goes into the arms of Edmed. He is knocked down by Hone. Getting up the play, Ben Elias at dummy half, sends it across to big Paul Siren, and he howls a long pass up for Maguire, goes without it. O'Brien picks it up, but it's been knocked forward, says the referee. He dived over for what he thought was a fair try, but it's been knocked forward, and the referee indicates a scrum 5 metres out from the Brisbane goal line.
Gee, there's a lot of mouthing going on out there from the Brisbane Broncos, and it's certainly directed by Greg Dowling and a couple of others out there. They'll want to shut their traps. They're winning the game 6-0, and there's Hoff coughing up possession on the first tackle.
Yes, he did, and Junior Pearce, Wayne Pearce picks it up, tries to go across field, gives it back to Benny Elias. He's going to be wrapped up too. Dale Shearer came in with a shoulder charge up over the top. Brasher took offence to that, and the penalty goes to Brisbane because of Brasher. He went in with the shoulder on, I think it was Dale Shearer, and they didn't like it. There goes Shearer in now, and I think Brasher gives it to him or just pushes him away.
He pushed him away. Yeah. Shearer going in over the top of Elias with a tackle there. Sideline eye, Tony Peters.
That's gamesmanship. Billy Harrigan should know better than that. That was just gamesmanship by Shearer, nothing else.
Okay, there's Dowling taking it up, and he takes it up very strongly. 10 metres for the Broncos. And Brisbane, 6-0 leaders over Balmain at the moment at Lang Park.
Kerrod Walters giving it out now to Allen, and he is charging forward, but he's lost possession. Benny Elias picking it up, but the referee said a knock on. Scrum to go down 31 metres out from the Balmain goal line.
I think he's ruled that it's been reefed out of the player's hands by a Balmain player, and it's a Broncos feed to Langer.
Langer straight out now to Kevin Wallace, tries to get around Michael Neal and Brasher, but he can't do that. He's knocked down now 36 metres out centre field from the Balmain goal line. Dale Shearer across now to John, steps around one, still going, can't get away from Wayne Pearce's tackle, which is right around the legs. He'll get up the play. Kerrod Wallace again at dummy half, gives it across this time to Dowling, crashing forward, and big Bruce Maguire's there to stop him on the Balmain quarter line. Kerrod Wallace again at dummy half, the Langer out there to Kevin Wallace, good pass out to Madison, but Madison's going to be wrapped up, still 28 metres out from the Tigers goal line. Kerrod Wallace again, back it goes this time to Langer, steps around one, finds another hole until he comes to Freeman. One left to go to the Brisbane Broncos, inside now the Balmain quarter line. Kerrod Wallace once again a dummy half, sends it back to Shearer, offloading to Kevin Wallace. He puts a kick up, all the Brisbane side are well and truly offside. Gary Jack takes it in the in-goal area, and a penalty kick given by the referee. 5 metres.
Yeah, inside the 5, according to the referee, Bill Harrigan, a penalty to the Balmain side in front of the kicker there, and Gary Jack just taking the ball. They could have had a tap from the quarter line.
Well, that's what I thought he was going to do.
But they're going to take the free kick, the tap penalty from outside the quarter, so that's good refereeing from Bill Harrigan. They've got an extra couple of metres and 6 tackles.
And here's Edmed charging onto the ball after the tap from Ben Elias. He picks up another 10 metres for the Balmain Tigers. Ben Elias at dummy half across to Maguire, charging forward. Gavin Allen is there to stop him in company with Dowling. 32 22 away from the Tigers goal line. Gets up, plays it forward. He's a mile offside. Gavin Allen holds it up. Oh, but he comes in and intercepts the pass, which was meant for Ben Elias. Brisbane in possession. Andrew G going forward. Sheridan up to take him 2 metres up into Balmain territory from the halfway line. Kerrod Wallers across now to Terry Madison. He tried to duck under one tackle of Parrish, but Edmed's there to stop him. Kerrod Wallers again across to Langer. Langer holds a long pass up for Hoff, trying to go out wide of Grant, but Grant's across there to take him. Still 40 out from the Tigers goal line. Hancock tries to fend off one or two, but again Grant's there to grab him by the shirt tail. Well played once again. Kerrod Wallers a dummy half to Langer. Langer elects to kick this time. Gary Jack turns around to chase the ball back into the Balmain in-goal area. He knows he has to take it. He does. Tries to get into the field of play, and up come the Bronco troops, and they've got hold of him. Goal line dropout.
Yeah, goal line dropout. Good play by the Brisbane Broncos. They're fired up. 6-0 they lead over the Balmain Tigers after 15 minutes here at Lang Park. Let's check them around the grounds. Tim Prentice.
Northern Parramatta 0-0.
Brian Surtees.
Illawarra Gold Coast 6-all.
Mark Cashman.
No change here. St George and Cronulla 0-all.
Tony McGay.
West 2-0, but Newcastle are kick in front.
Phil Tressida.
Eastern Suburbs 2, South Sydney 0.
Okay, there's a restart of play taken by Paul Hoff, and he's picked up and driven into the ground from a great height, 33 metres out from the Balmain goal line.
Kerrod Wallers giving it across this time to Chris Johns. Busts the first one, a man down on his back too, and I think it's Bruce Maguire caught one in the melon going through. Kerrod Wallers from the back of the ruck, and again Parrish has got hold of him. Strong mark of defence that time from Balmain. Up the play of Terry Madison, a dummy half. Langer out to home. Good pass to Kevin Walters. Wide it goes to Dale Shearer, the speedster. But he's taken care of once again by James Grant on the Balmain quarter line. Hancock a dummy half. Back down to Dowling. Juggling act from Dowling. Manages to hang on to the football.
Having a big game, Greg Dowling, so far for the Brisbane Broncos. They're inspiring skipper this afternoon. Langer puts his foot to the ball again. More pressure on Balmain's Gary Jack.
Oh, and up he goes for it, but he's lost it into the arms of Freeman. And the ball went back from Gary Jack, and lucky Freeman was there because Dale Shearer was right on top of him. It's played now to O'Brien. O'Brien tries to get around Hone's tackle, but he can't do that, and he's knocked down centre field, 8 metres out from the Balmain goal line. McCann from the back of the ruck trying to go forward. Strong defence from Brisbane, 10 metres out from the Balmain goal line. Tigers in possession. Parrish trying to go around one or two and over the top of Andrew G, but he couldn't do it.
They're in a bit of a hole, the Balmain Tigers at the moment, and struggling to get out of it. This Brisbane defence has really got them worried. There's another strong tackle, and it is coughed up by the Balmain side, and a knock on, and it'll be a scrum feed to the Brisbane Broncos. Only 22 metres out from the Balmain goal line. Scrum fed by Langer.
Picked up by Madison from the back of the Brisbane scrum, and he's immediately put down by Freeman. Langer's a dummy half, gives it across to Chris Johns. Freeman dives around the legs, but he offloads out to Gavin Allen. He starts to get mobile, but he is pulled down from behind by Paul Sirinen. Still back on the Balmain quarter line, as Peters said, they're hemmed in there, and we've got Hone going for a bit of a trot too. He bounces off, one still going forward. Ben Elias last line of defence to knock him to ground. 12 metres out from Balmain's goal line. Langer serves one up for Kevin Wallace, turns it back now to Dale Shearer. Shearer bypasses one or two until Parrish gets to him in company with Sirinen. Still 12 metres out from the Tigers goal line. Back it goes to Kerrod Wallace across to Dowling. Dowling drops it off the end of the toe. Huge chase. Gary Jack's back there, but they watch it go out the back door.
Okay, it'll be a tap from the quarter line. Let's check the scores on the Mitsubishi scoreboard around the grounds. Tim Prentice.
Northern Parramatta 0-all.
Brian Surtees.
Illawarra 10, Gold Coast 6.
Mark Cashman.
St George and Cronulla 0-all.
Tony McGay.
Newcastle 6, West 2, kick to come.
Phil Tressida.
East 6, South 0.
Okay, sideline eye, Tony Peters.
Gee, both these sides, Pete, they're making enormous commitment in the centre of the rucks, but they're both leaving themselves very exposed on the blind side. Brisbane have picked it up, and so are Balmain now.
Okay. Paul Siren in possession of the football, 5 metres out from halfway. After 18 minutes at Lang Park, it's 6-0 to the Broncos over the Tigers. Kick downfield. Hoff, who's had a horror of a game so far. He bends down and picks it up 5-10 metres out from his own goal line. Benny Elias around his big praying mantis legs.
Yes, a good tackle too. Now it's back to Langer at dummy half. Hancock's one of the few to go back for the Brisbane side. Can't get past Grant again, and he's got hold of him by one arm, and a lot of help too from Wayne Pearce. He plays it back down to Shearer.
Shearer now to Kerrod Walters. He's put down on the quarter line. The scrums are 3-0 to Brisbane over Balmain, and the penalties are 4-1 to Balmain over Brisbane. Tim Brash has missed 2 sitters from 2 attempts for Balmain, and they trail 6-0.
Kerrod Walters across to Alfie Langer again. Gives a good pass to Kevin Walters. This time he's going nowhere, and he's knocked to the ground by Brasher, and he stole the ball, and the referee doesn't even realise it yet, but now he's given a penalty. Brasher's just, he's blowing about the ruling, but the referee looked away, didn't realise that Brasher had pinched the pill.
He certainly didn't. It was in the play, it was in the tackle, and to my mind, it was a legitimate pinch, but the referee was checking the back line of Balmain for offside, and when he looked back, the Balmain player, Brasher, had possession, and he blew his whistle. I think a bit prematurely, but left with no real alternative there.
There's the tap by Kerrod Walters. Back again to Dowling. Tries to break the line. Too strong, Matt Parrish, on that occasion. Edmed down low too to add the extra weight. Now it's played to Kerrod Walters. He gives it across to Andrew G. G offloads back to Langer. Goes out there to Kevin Walters. Holds it up for Gavin Allen. He tries to take off, but he is knocked down centre field on the halfway line. Kerrod Walters once again a dummy half. Terry Madison calling for it. That was nearly a forward pass as he goes forward for a gain of 10 metres or so. 40 out now from the Balmain goal line. And we've got Kerrod Walters from the back of the ruck. No marker defence from Balmain that time, and he picks up another 10 metres.
20 minutes gone in the first half. Brisbane 6, Balmain 0. Only try from an intercept by the man in possession, Willie Kahn. But this time, Steve O'Brien follows him 5-on-5.
One tackle left to go. Langer drops it off the end of the toe, straight into the tummy of Freeman, and Balmain in possession on their own quarter line. Played back to O'Brien, across now to Michael Neal, out to Ben Elias to Wayne Pearce. Pearce trying to straighten up the attack, accepts the tackle of Mark Hone over the top, and he couldn't do anything other than that. It was a beauty. Back now with Tim Brasher. He can't get away from Hone, although he missed him on the first occasion, and then taken over the top. Elias back to Parrish. Parrish trying to pick up valuable metres. They pick him up and drive him into the turf too. Kevin Walters, the tackler, gets up, plays it forward. He'll pick up at least 5 metres this time. Gavin Allen coming at him. 30 metres out now from the Balmain goal line. Benny Elias across to Freeman. Freeman elects to go down the blind side. He didn't have any support. He gives it back to Gary Jack. And jumping Jimmy Jack gets a kick straight down the throat to Hancock. Hancock gets away that time from one, flies down the far flank, comes back inside, misses one, and he's picked up by Benny Elias.
He got away from Tim Brasher, who's having a shocker here at Lang Park. He just pushed Brasher off.
Back now it goes to Dale Shearer. Shearer pops one up over the top. The big Paul Hunt, the Pay and Manus takes up, and little Mickey Neal comes down right around the booties to knock him down. Inside the Tigers quarter, Kerrod Walters, Langer, it goes to Madison. He had a bit of a look too, put the football down, and Balmain come up with it about 18 metres out from the Tigers goal line.
Brisbane 6, Balmain 0 at Lang Park after 21 minutes of play. Sideline eye, Tony Peters.
Yeah, Peter, they denied it before the game, but I think some of these Tigers who are new to Lang Park are starting to feel the pressure here. Brasher obviously is, and so are a couple of others.
Yeah, they certainly are. Here's big Steve Edmed now, running onto the ball, giving it to Freeman, back to Sirinen, who's Balmain's best player. James Grant knocks on.
Yeah, well, it was a bad pass from Tim Brasher again, Peter, but he maybe should have run onto that ball, but Brisbane come up with the pill once again. Hancock now plays it to Kerrod Walters, goes across to Dale Shearer, and Shearer stopped, then started again, and Sirinen came in over the top to put him down.
I know it'd be a risk, but I'd be bringing Andy Courier into this game for Balmain. I think that Courier might react in a positive manner. Some of these Balmain backs are pretty shell-shocked this afternoon.
Back now to Terry Madison for the Brisbane side, and the Broncos in possession just outside the Balmain quarter line. Kerrod Walters again, a dummy half, gives it across to Dowling. And Dowling charges straight up into that front line defence of Balmain, and down he goes under the tackle of Parrish, kicking away too whilst getting up the play. Kerrod Walters a dummy half to Langer. Langer dummies through, they got the little man. Kevin Walters scores for the Brisbane side. Put that one down to Alfie Langer. That was one heck of a dummy. It was a beautiful dummy.
It was a magnificent try, beautifully laid on by Alan Langer. And Langer, who's been pretty quiet today. Kerrod Walters went to dummy half. Langer through the dummy, stepped off his right foot, went straight through the gap. He came to Gary Jack. He gave it to Kevin Walters, and Kevin Walters put the ball down beautifully for a try. Brilliant bit of work by Alan Langer. He left Edmed for dead and Sirinen, and then got the ball on to Kevin Walters, who beautifully put the ball down for a try. 10-0 to the Brisbane Broncos after 23 minutes of play, and they are hell-bent on blowing this hoodoo. Not from here to Kingdom Come, but absolutely to smithereens this afternoon. 10-0, and the Broncos are on fire at Lang Park before a massive crowd.
Dale Shearer about 20 metres in from touch and kicking to the scoreboard end. The Mitsubishi scoreboard, Andy will put this one over probably too. Gee whiz, they're in awesome form, Peter.
Yeah, they certainly are. They're entitled to be premiership favourites. They've done everything, and look at the players they've got out today. Gene Miles, Wally Lewis, gee. They've got some players on the sideline and still are giving it to Balmain in no uncertain fashion. Last year's grand finalists and also grand finalists in 1988, 88 and 89.
Okay, we've got Shearer now lining this ball up. He's just inside.
Quite frankly, they have to make changes. They can't win with the side they've got out there, Balmain, at the moment.
That's very true, particularly in the centre position. Dale Shearer just inside the Balmain quarter line as he comes in. He hits it very nicely. He's going to push it away to the left-hand side. No goal.
Okay, the score, the Mitsubishi scoreboard, 10-0 to the Broncos over Balmain. Let's check them on the Mitsubishi scoreboard for Footy Tab. Tim Prentice.
Parramatta 4, North Sydney 0.
Brian Surtees.
At half-time, Illawarra 10, lead Gold Coast 6.
Mark Cashman.
St George and Cronulla 0-0.
Tony McGay.
Newcastle 6, West 2.
Phil Tressida.
Eastern Suburbs 6, South Sydney 2.
And back at Lang Park now. Restart a play by Ian McCann, who has been very quiet so far. Downfield taken by the Giraffe.
Yes, Big Hoff he is referring to, and he runs right outside of his own quarter line to be pulled down on the far side by Brasher. Now, Kerrod Wallace from the back of the ruck again is taken by Brasher over the top.
He's been pretty quiet, Kerrod Walters. Not many dashes from dummy half from him, but he's doing the job for his side. Sideline eye, Tony Peters.
I think those two lapses by Tim Brasher have had a bad effect on the Tigers. The last 10 minutes have been just awful after a good start.
Yeah, certainly. Good start, and they have gone right off the boil, the Tigers.
Up the plate now, Andrew G. Kerrod Walters across the Langer, out now to Dowling. And boy, he's an inspiration to the side. They've got one tackle left to go, the Brisbane side. Again, Kerrod Walters across this time to Shearer, out to Hoff, and Hoff gets another kick deep down into Balmain territory, taken by Gary Jack, 15 out from his own goal line.
Gary Jack having a lot of pressure put on him from some good Broncos kicking this afternoon. I would say in this game, unless Balmain score next, this game could almost be gone right at this moment. 10-0 and only 14 minutes out from half-time. But the Tigers have got to start doing something. Elias up the blind side to McNeil, but he's well covered by this strong Broncos defence. Not a lot of pressure being put on the Broncos at the moment by Balmain, who are really struggling.
Now we've got, it's Maguire only about 4 metres short of the halfway line, but still in Balmain territory. Up very slowly, that time to play it. Back it goes this time to Wayne Pearce. Oh, back to Gary Jack. He has spelt possession of the ball. Desperately tries to hang on to it with his legs, but the referee's going to blow this one up. He'll put a scrum down right on the halfway line.
Yeah, and a knock on by Balmain, so it'll be a scrum feed to the Brisbane Broncos. Player down is...
Freeman is up, Pete.
Gary Freeman and Alan Langer were both tied up there, the two little number 7s. Oh, Langer gets up and puts it straight in.
And he got pinched for doing just that.
Hand in the scrum against the Brisbane side.
And again, we've got a bit of pushing and shoving. Freeman and Andrew G having a little bit of a go at each other, but they're all separated now in the penalty stands. The referee is going to call one up, is he? No.
No, he's not. He's going to get on with the action. Harrigan, very impressive this afternoon, and he's one of the few referees that can come to Lang Park and not be overawed by it. I mean, they should put the bloke here in most of the big games, because most of the others, well, they can't handle it. And it's just a simple fact.
James Grant now running off the tap from Ben Elias. He's immediately pulled to ground, 28 metres out from the Brisbane goal line. Benny Elias is a dummy half. He gives it across to Wayne Pearce. He tries to step Allen, but Gavin Allen too strong, and he's put to ground quickly. Now it goes back to Benny Elias down the blind side. It goes to Parrish, then out to Gary. Oh! Well, what's he done? He said no chest, and it was Dale Shearer putting Gary Jack away. But play on, he said. Michael Neal now trying to run the ball wide, but he's taken too beautifully by Terry Madison. I've
got to put a big question mark on that tackle. I thought that there was an upraised elbow in that tackle, and, well, the touch judge was right there and the referee was there, so we'll give Dale Shearer the benefit of the doubt. And a big doubt, and another player put down in back play now, and Gavin Allen was the player.
Yep.
And there's a touch judge coming in. Well, there's a Balmain player absolutely flattened.
Yeah, but the touch judge followed the ball into the in goal. This fellow on this side should have got him. The other fellow on the other side did the right thing. This bloke down here, he is dead set blind. This bloke is blind.
Well, I saw it on the replay. The player was Gavin Allen, and Greg, it was a shoulder charge. Nothing wrong with the tackle on replay. So the touch judges were right, so we'll retract that one. But the other one, gee, I'd like to see it a little bit later on. Dale Shearer on the Balmain player. Sideline eye, Tony Peters.
No, Peter, Gary Jack was falling when Shearer came in. There was nothing wrong with that tackle. Gary Jack was falling. Definitely nothing wrong with it.
Okay, well, stand corrected on both those, and I'm happy to retract those because you know, it's a tough game and there's no need for anything else. But some of the players out there sailing pretty close to the win this afternoon. But let's go with the referee and touch judges. And our sideline eye, Tony Peters, a lot closer than us, and they've been A-OK on replays.
Benny Elias, a dummy half to Freeman. Out it goes to Michael Neal. Freeman on the wrap, picks up Siren and running wide. Of some of the hits Gavin Allen is putting on this afternoon are inspirational.
How didn't he get in a St George first grade side? That's what I want to know.
It's got me knackered, I can tell you that, because he's doing some wonderful work this afternoon for the Brisbane side. One tackle left to go.
11 minutes out from half-time. 10-0 to the Broncos, and they've got Balmain in a deep hole. Kicked through by Michael Neal. Willie Kahn goes back for it. Picks it up just inside the sideline, and he's put down in a very strong tackle by Steve O'Brien. 10-0 to the Broncos, and 10 minutes out from half-time on the Mitsubishi scoreboard. Let's check them for footy tab around the grounds. Tim Prentice at North Sydney.
North and Parramatta 4-all.
And it's 10-6 at half-time in favour of Illawarra over Gold Coast with Brian Surtees. Mark Cashman at Cogra.
St George and Cronulla 0-all.
Tony McGay.
Newcastle 6, West 2, 9 from half-time.
Phil Tressida.
East and South 6-all.
Okay, and a penalty to the Brisbane Broncos here at Lang Park, and the player down for
Benny Elias.
Balmain is Ben Elias.
He was mixed up in the play, the ball, not in an onside position, said referee Harrigan. The ball fell or was reefed out of possession of the man trying to play it. Consequently, the penalty's been given on the Brisbane quarter line, and Hop is up to take this one, but I'm sure bouncing Benny is A-OK. He's got a bit of a knee problem for the look of it. But gee whiz, every time he moves, they're giving it to him.
Yeah, they certainly are. There's a kick from Hoff, which has gone backwards.
Yeah, straight over that beautiful Tui sign on the far side.
Tui's?
It'll do.
It's got 4 X's.
Tui's as far as I'm concerned. Back now to Hancock, and Hancock is knocked to the ground. Give up.
I knew you could never spell.
Yeah, I know.
4 X's means Tui's.
That's to me it does. Back now to the football. Gavin Allen getting up to play the ball. Back to Kerrod Wallers. Across it goes into the arms of Hone, charging forward. He's wrapped up 5 metres short of the halfway line. He'll play it to Kerrod Wallers again, who offloads back to Dowling. Dowling out now to Kevin Wallers. Around one, has a look for support, and he is eventually called on to play it. Kerrod Wallers, Langer, across to Andrew G, and little Mickey Neal's up in this forward line doing a lot of tackling. They've got one left to go, the Brisbane side. Back now to Hone, and Hone gets a kick downfield. Gary Jack will go back to take this one, only an inch or two. Right on the goal line he is. Starts to get some pace up out wide. Too much for Mark Hone. Gives it out now to James Grant, who finds himself in the clear. He beats Kevin Wallace. He gives it back to Michael Neal. Michael Neal's around one. He's run out of options, little Mickey Neal. Oh, and another player's put out of business by Gavin Allen. And he has been caught. And he has knocked Timmy Brasher to the ground, not in possession of the football.
Okay, and the referee asking for silence. Greg Dowling checking everything the referee does. Greg, your captain, but fair dinkum. That was a blatant tackle on a man not in possession. The referee's doing his job, and there's Dowling coming up. And it was Gavin Allen taking a player head high without possession of the football. You know, there's the penalty, and Dowling's up there questioning the decision. I mean, gee.
Okay,
penalties in the game are 6-3 to Balmain, and the scrums are 4-0 to Brisbane.
Gary Jack takes the free kick. Back down now on the Brisbane quarter line, immediately put down by Allen, plays it now to Ben Elias. Freeman out to Michael Neal, to a big Ed Med trying to make the bust. He gives it back once to McCann. McCann is through the gap, gets up to have another go. Langer arrives on the scene and he's knocked down. Plays it now to Wayne Pearce, good pass out to Ben Elias. Wide it goes to Sirenan, to Brasher. Brasher's through the gap, dummied beautifully too, but then is taken 11 metres out from the Brisbane goal line. They need a couple of points, the boys from Balmain. Freeman goes through the gap, but again he's pulled down by Dowling. Up quickly to play it back to Benny Elias. He takes off. He's only 2 metres out now from the Brisbane goal line. One tackle left to go to the Tigers. Wayne Pearce, a dummy half, sends it out to Freeman, drops it off the end of the toe. He's been put down, but the ball has been forced in the in-goal area by Big Paul Hoff. Goal line dropout. Okay, and Freeman put down there in a strong tackle by Terry Madison. The referees ruled A-OK there, and Brisbane survived that concerted attack from Balmain. 7 minutes out from half-time. Broncos 10, Tigers 0 at Lang Park. Let's check them around the grounds. Tim Prentice at North Sydney.
North and Parramatta 4-all.
Brian Surtees.
Yes, half-time still, 10-6 in favour of Illawarra.
Mark Cashman.
St George 4, Cronulla 0.
Tony McGay.
Newcastle 6, West 2.
Phil Tressida.
South and East 6-all.
Okay, back at Lang Park in Brisbane now. It's Balmain in possession of the football. 24 metres out from the Brisbane goal line.
Oh, Matt Parrish going forward, and Andrew G going high on him to take him, eventually pulling him down. We'll play it now Elias at dummy half across now to Wayne Pearce, drops the shoulder into one and gets rid of him. That was one of the defenders who went to the ground. Now it's back this time to Maguire. Maguire had a look out wide for Ben Elias, couldn't get his pass away. Terry Madison over the top, 8 metres now from the Brisbane goal line. Back it goes now to Freeman, a long pass out to Michael Neal, then out to Tim Brasher, holds a beauty up there for McCann, heads for the corner, turns it inside to O'Brien. O'Brien's going to score for the Balmain side, and a good try set up by McCann. Turned the ball back inside, and over go the Tigers for their first try.
Well, something to cheer about at last for Balmain fans here at Lang Park. A long way for them to come. A beautiful pass from Elias to Freeman to McNeil, and Brasher finally did something right. He got a long pass for McCann to get on the outside of the defence, and he beautifully took the opposition out wide, and O'Brien stormed on the inside, coming inside like a good winger should, away from the sideline, and he's put the ball down midway between the sideline corner post and the uprights for Balmain's opening try in the game after 35 minutes of play, and the Tigers needed to get points on the board. 10 points to 4. Brasher, none from 2 this afternoon, and maybe his involvement in that try will give him a lift in confidence. He certainly needs it. He's missed 2 sitters this afternoon.
He's 12 metres in from touch, just inside the Brisbane quarter line. Having the ball placed, and here goes the booze again. The kids are kicking the tin around the ground here, and a heck of a lot of noise as Timmy Brasher comes in. He's hit it. What's it going to do? Oh, again, he's pushed it way away to the right-hand side. No goal.
Well, none from 3, and fairly easy kicks this afternoon for Tim Brasher, and he hasn't looked like kicking any of them. Sideline eye, Tony Peters.
Gee, it's ironic, Pete. Brisbane's defence up the middle is the one that's been tested all season, allegedly supposedly weak. They've been great up front, but they're very weak out wide today. Andy Courier watching the game on television, would you believe?
How Andy. Okay, there's the restart of play by Dale Shearer deep, and Gary Jack takes it in goal.
Freeman it was, Pete.
Freeman it was.
Yeah, back it goes into the arms of James Grant.
You think I'd know the whiz?
Well, you should. Back now it goes. Up now to Benny Elias. He gives it across this time to big Paul Sirenen. Sirenen trying to make the bust and drags himself right up to his own quarter line before being put down by G. Elias now gives it across to Wayne Pearce. Oh, he is taken beautifully by Andrew G and Gavin Allen. Up to his credit to play it. Back now it goes to Maguire. Tries to step away from 1 or 2, but Mark Hone over the top to finish that one off. Elias out to Freeman. Good pass out to McCann. What can you do with those big lanky legs? He can't make the bust, and he's pulled down 32 out from the Balmain goal line. Freeman from the back of the ruck makes a break, gets a kick in downfield too, but going across to cover it beautifully is Hancock for the Brisbane side. James Grant up to him, and eventually he's taken by Grant and Brasher on the far side of the ground, 6 metres short of the halfway line. Now Dale Shearer getting it inside to Hoff, the big praying mantis, legs pumping out there, but Hoff falls short of the halfway line by a metre or so. Up to quickly play the ball. Back it goes this time to Kerrod Walters, out to Langer, out then to Kevin Walters, back inside it goes to Chris Johns. Kevin Walters again in support play, turns it this side to Willie Kahn, steps 1 or 2, but Parrish has got hold of him, and he's put down 2 metres over the halfway line in Balmain territory.
3 minutes remaining in the first half of a great game at Lang Park, and Dowling is very inspirational today, but he's thrown to the ground by big Paul Sirenen. 10-4 in favour of the Broncos, 2 tries to 1. Kerrod Walters from dummy half gives it to Madison. Madison onto Kevin Walters, and he's put down about 23 metres out on the last tackle.
1 tackle to go as the arm of the referee goes up. Kerrod Walters at dummy half gives it out now once again.
Mark Hone kicked.
Yeah, well, that's the second time he's done that, and Gary Jack eats that one like he's had it for breakfast, but he's immediately put down by Andrew G up over the top. 8 metres out from the Balmain goal line. It's gone now to O'Brien trying to fend off. Very strong too, but he can only pick up another 2 metres for the Tigers. Up quickly to play it. Benny Elias at dummy half this time out to Wayne Pearce. Pearce charging forward. He picks up 6 metres or so for the Balmain Tigers before being put to ground.
The Brisbane forwards working very hard today, and they're on top of this Balmain pack at the moment. Sideline eye, Tony Peters.
You've got to admire Billy Harrigan, Pete. He's been told how to referee the game by everybody in the paddock, but he refuses to be intimidated by the crowd or the players.
Yeah, he's had a good one. There's a kick downfield. Is it going to be a good one? No, it's picked up by Michael Hancock.
Yes, he goes across field, comes inside one, bends up, another couple, goes for a big sprint. Grant's right on his hammer, and James Grant from behind runs him down 32 metres out from the Balmain goal line.
Well, he's had 3 goes at him, and he finally got him from behind in a long chase.
Now it's Gavin Allen's turn to go forward for the Brisbane side. Up to the advantage line. Freeman, good tackle, pulls him down. Goes across to Langer. Good pass to Kevin Walters. Wide it goes to Chris John. Sets up Willie Kahn, but he can't. and he's going to be held up, and he's knocked down 36 metres out from the Balmain goal line.
Less than a minute remaining in the first half. Dangerous time for Balmain here as Chris Johns makes it up almost now to the Balmain quarter line. Balmain trailing by 10-4. They can't afford any more points in these final 42 seconds of the first half.
One tackle left to go. Sirinen all over the top of G, trying to suck a penalty out of the referee to no avail. Back now to Langer. He puts a kick
and
up.
It's on between Sirinen and G.
Well, I'm watching the football.
Here's Chris Johns coming into it now.
Well, have a go at these fellas. Fair again.
Well, Chris Johns coming in. He should be sent to the sin bin. He had no right to go in there.
No, he didn't, but the referee sorting it out. I followed play. The referee up where the kick went up, and he's trying to remember just what's going on, or, you know, what was doing down there, while the fight's erupted and the touch judges on.
Well, the touch judges are in. Sirinen and also G were the instigators of it. Certainly Sirinen was involved. There's the half-time siren, and it was an incident. And Dale Shearer started it. Who else but Dale Shearer? The whole thing, and he's been involved in several niggling incidents today, Dale Shearer.
Well, he's not going to get away scot-free. I tell you what, plenty of claret coming out of Wayne Pearce's beak, let me tell you. But he's called Shearer over. Andrew G. Dowling.
Have a look
again.
at it now on the replay, Greg. There's Shearer. Bang!
Oh, yes, he's put one right on the whisker
Gary
of
Jack.
Jimmy Jupp and Jimmy Jack, who hasn't thrown a blow. Oh, he got one in then. Well, Sirenen's been opted. He's been sent to the bin. He's got 10 minutes.
Yeah, and Shearer should too.
Well, he hasn't done a thing about Shearer. He's called Andrew G back. So this will be interesting. This will be on this touch judge's report on this side. So we're waiting.
10 minutes.
Got 10 minutes too.
Yeah, that's Andrew G.
Now, what about the fella that started it?
Well, Dale Shearer, to my mind, there's the penalty to Brisbane.
Yeah, and Shearer stays. We've got a Brisbane player, Andrew G, in the bin, and Paul Sirinen, and the bloke that's got away with it,
He's going to have a shot at goal. That's unbelievable.
Well,
okay, Andrew G in the sin bin, and also Paul Sirinen in the... Not an impossible task, Greg, because there are gaps in this Brisbane side, particularly out wide today, as Tony Peters has indicated. Okay, here we go, uninterrupted. Thanks to LJ Hooker, Tui's, Auto Village, Holden and Liquor Stop for the second half out of the Lang Park. Dodge City, here we go with Dale Shearer to kick off. Rowdy to restart play.
Yeah, waiting for the Director of Proceedings from the... Channel 10, there she goes now, and Shearer getting it underway. A deep kick now going to be taken by Freeman back in his own in-goal area. Comes out into the field of play. Will manage to get up to the 10-metre line before he's taken right underneath his crossbar.
And Gary's got to have a bigger involvement in the second half, Freeman. He didn't do all that much in the first half, not for a player of his standard, and I'm sure he'll be trying to look to ignite this Balmain side in the second session.
Bruce Maguire in possession, still trapped inside their own quarter line. Benny Elias getting it back to McCann, tries to step one or two. I think it was meant the kick to be on then, but he couldn't get it away, and he's immediately pulled down on tackle 4. Ben Elias again at dummy half, sends it across this time to Gary Jack. He fumbles, claimed up over the top by Kevin Walters, and they are only 12 metres out from their own goal line. Benny Elias at dummy half gives it to Michael Neal, and a very hurried kick sees the leather going down straight into the arms of Hoff, right on the halfway line. He starts to get mobile, this big bloke, and the legs are pumping. He's busted him wide open, heading for the corner. Gary Jack comes at him, and Gary Jack just gets him up over the touchline, which I believe a metre out from the Balmain goal line.
Magnificent tackle by Gary Jack. That was Champagne Rugby League by the two fullbacks. Oh, great run by Hoff. He got right away from number 4 and also in the Balmain side, Edmed. It was both McCann, who never looked like tackling him, and Edmed, but Gary Jack, a magnificent try-saving tackle in the opening minutes of the second half for Balmain.
Balmain in possession. Parrish trying to go forward, and he's knocked down now 12 metres out from the Tigers' goal line by Allen. He'll play it to Benny Elias, goes across to Edmed now, trying to get around the tackle of Dowling, carrying the football right up to the Tigers' quarter line and knocked down. Benny Elias at dummy half out to Maguire once again, bounces off one, still going forward, but eventually succumbs to the tackle of Kerrod Walters. Back to Ben Elias, he gives it to Gary Jack from his own quarter line, gets a good-looking kick downfield up over the head of Hancock, who has to chase the football, and it goes over the touchline, 10 metres out from from the Brisbane goal line.
Yes, good play by Balmain, good kick by Gary Jack, and that's the place to play Brisbane, not up near your own territory. Oh, what a great bit of football by Gary Jack. Is right back to his best form. That was a terrific tackle on Paul Hoff, and one of the highlights of this very good game this afternoon. Let's update the scores on the Mitsubishi scoreboard for Footy Tab. Tim Prentice.
Norths 10, Parramatta 6.
10-6, Brian Surtees.
Illawarra 20, Gold Coast 6.
Mark Cashman.
St George 16, Cronulla 0.
16-0, is that right?
That's correct, Peter.
Okay.
Quite a surge by the Saints.
What a surge. Tony McGay.
Newcastle 14, West 2.
Phil Tressida.
South Sydney 7, Eastern Suburbs 6.
Okay, back at Lang Park in Brisbane. It's the Broncos in possession of the football, and they are 12 metres out from their own goal line.
And in possession, Chris Johns trying to make a bust. Beats Edmed, passes a shocker, picked up quickly by McCann for Balmain. Now they've got a good chance, the Tigers. They're going to get up on tackle 1, 11 metres from the Brisbane goal line. Benny Elias Ops now out to Maguire. Maguire tried to keep it alive, but a good tackle once again by Gavin Allen, having a blinder this afternoon. It's played, goes across to Parrish. He's taken head on by Mark Hone too, and knocked to the ground 10 metres out from the Brisbane goal line. Again, Benny Elias at dummy half, goes across to Freeman. Freeman dummies through the gap. Freeman scored a brilliant try. A brilliant try from Freeman, and Balmain are back in the game again. Go you Tigers.
Yes, and Gary Freeman, the greater involvement, which had to come in the second half, and it's come from the Kiwi champion. Only 3 minutes into the second half. He dummied Langer, and he left big Greg Dowling for dead, and Gary Freeman has gone in and scored a brilliant try through the dummy, and they all fell for it too, and he has sucked them in and scored a brilliant individual try to put the Tigers back in the game. It's 12-8 with a kick to come and a change of kickers. It's McCann to do the kicking now, and he's taken over the role from his co-centre Tim Brasher, who has none from 3 this afternoon, so Ian McCann to take the kick. It's 2 tries apiece here at Lang Park in Brisbane, and the Tigers draw up to 12 points to 8. Well, how easy was that try, Greg Hartley?
It was a brilliant try. He set him up once he beat the first one, and Langer came at him. Fantastic dummy by young Freeman, and the gap opened up. He went straight into the in-goal area. I thought he may have been able to better his position, but he had a look, and that big praying mantis, Paul Hoff, was right there on the mark, did the right thing, got the ball down for the 4-pointer. Now, what can McCann do, Zorb? He's 20 metres in from touch. He's on the Broncos quarter line.
Well, that's exactly what Balmain wanted, a try straight after the break, and Gary Jack saved them a certain try. That would have been curtains had he scored that Hoff.
Here he comes, McCann. He's headed. What's he doing with the ball? Oh, he's kicked it, and the Tigers are back in the game.
12 points to 10 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. McCann kicking the conversion of Gary Freeman's try, and it's 12 points to 10 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. Sideline eye, Tony Peters.
I swear his legs were shaking when he took that kick, Pete. He was as nervous as a kitten.
But he bisected the uprights. 12-10 to the Broncos over Balmain. Restarted play now, and Wayne Pearce juggles the football, doesn't knock it on. But the captain goes up almost to the quarter line before he's put down in a very strong tackle. We've got a humdinger on our hands now. The Tigers, down 10-0 early in the game, have clawed their way back to 12-10.
Parrish going forward now too for the Balmain side. He's 28 metres out from the Tigers goal line and knocked down. Plays it back to Benny Elias. Tries to get around 1 or 2. He does get around him. He stakes off down the touchline right up towards the halfway line. Plays it now to James Grant, again across to Freeman, hot to Edmed. Edmed charging forward, the big man dummies, has a look back inside. His pass has gone astray and a scramble for the football. The referee up over the ruck, and he's saying the Broncos will come up with it and they will get the advantage via Greg Dowling.
Well, lucky for Brisbane they did. Balmain starting to make a lot of inroads. Shearer out wide to Hancock.
Oh, and he takes off down the touchline, gets inside 1. Again, Gary Jack's there to knock him to ground 30 metres out from the Tigers goal line.
Big game from Gary Jack. Here's the Broncos with a bit of room.
Goes out now, wide to Kevin Waller's out now to John Shaw. McCann's up right around the legs to pull him down. That was a beautiful tackle by McCann. Kevin Waller's a dummy half to Dowling. Dowling goes for it, but he's got the Balmain backs. Timmy Brasher all offside. Penalty to the Brisbane side, 36 metres out from the Tigers goal line.
Scrums 4-1-2, Brisbane over Balmain. Penalties are 6-5 to Balmain over Brisbane. Paul Hoff to kick to the sideline, and a good position for the Broncos to attack from there. Oh, this game really livening up before this crowd of over 30,000 at Lang Park in Brisbane this afternoon. Kerrod Walters to take the tap.
Yes, he does so. He gives it straight straight back now to Willie Kahn on the far side.
I couldn't see the reasoning behind that. A tap and then up the blind side to a winger who was well marked.
Back it goes now to Terry Madison. He is very strong and he's only 8 metres out from the Tigers' goal line. They're under siege once again, the Tigers, but it goes across the Langer. Wide out now to Kevin Wallace. He dummies, he finds a gap too, drops it off the end of the toe. And Freeman again there to make the ball dead. Boy, is he doing some covering up work. Michael Neal also there.
OK, let's check the scores around the grounds. Tim Prentice at North Sydney.
Parramatta 12, North 10.
Parramatta 12, North 10. Brian Surtees.
Illawarra 20, Gold Coast 6.
Mark Cashman.
St George 16, Cronulla 0.
Tony McGay.
Newcastle 18, kick to come, West 2.
Phil Tressida.
South Sydney 7, Eastern Suburbs 6.
OK, back at Lang Park in Brisbane. You missed none of the action. Line drop out by jumping Jimmy Jack, and the ball travels over the halfway mark. Where's Hoff? He's towards the centre of the field. It's picked up by Willie Kahn.
Yeah, on the far side of the ground. That ball went 60 metres from that goal line drop out. A mammoth kick from Gary Jack. But
he never used to be able to kick. He's really improved it.
Mr. Ryan, I think, has had a lot to do with that, Peter. Kevin Wallace now trying to dummy his way around 1 or 2. He gives it back to Gavin Allen. He gets mobile very quickly too for a big man, but he's knocked down 8 metres over the halfway line in Balmain's territory. It goes to Kerrod Wallace out to Langer. Langer dummy still going downfield through the gap. Gets it back to Johns. Chris Johns can motor, but he is knocked down again by Gary Jack. Just a shade over the Balmain quarter line. Getting up the play at Kerrod Wallace out now to Big Greg Dowling, charging forward like a runaway rhinoceros. And he's only 5 metres out now from the Balmain goal line. Kerrod Wallace out to Langer. Langer a long pass out to Kevin Wallace. Kevin Wallace gives it to Hoff. Hoff goes on his own. Now he gives it out to Willie Kahn. And Willie Kahn's going to score for the Brisbane side. And Balmain there in total disarray.
Well, a bit of luck there. The pass from Hoff out to the winger Kahn hit the ground, and referee Bill Harrigan ruled it was A-OK, but that should seal it for the Broncos. Good work by Alan Langer to Kevin Walters. Walters then got the ball out wide to Hoff, and the pass from Hoff out to Willie Kahn. It hit the ground and didn't go in a forward motion, and Kahn picked it up and has raced around to score his second try of the game. So the scoring in this game continues. 16-10 with a kick to come from Dale Shearer to the Broncos. The Brisbane Broncos 16 lead Balmain 10 after 9 minutes of this thriller at Lang Park.
Well, now the kick to be taken by Dale Shearer. 18 metres out from the Balmain goal line. One of the Balmain players over there with a trainer on the far side of the ground, just checking his boots. It's O'Brien, but he's up OK. And Dennis Tuddy, the runner for the Balmain side, out there with the water juice, the holy water, whatever, all the instructions in the world to the Balmain side.
Well, just when they got back in the game, the Broncos have put them out of it again. So it's a good football side, this Brisbane Broncos. Give credit where it's due. But the Tigers not done yet. This is a great game of football here at Lang Park. Capacity crowd and a good game.
OK, Shearer now, as I said, about 16, 17 metres out as he comes in now. Shearer hits it very nicely. Waved away, no goal to Dale Shearer.
OK, let's check the scores for Footy Tab on the Mitsubishi scoreboard. Tim Prentice.
Parramatta 12, North Sydney 10.
Brian Surtees.
Illawarra 20, Gold Coast 6.
Mark Cashman.
Saints can do no wrong. St George 22, Cronulla 0.
Tony McGay.
Newcastle 20, West 2.
Phil Tressida.
Eastern Suburbs 8, South Sydney 7.
OK, a tight one there. Let's go to our sideline eye, Tony Peters.
Hey, Peter, these Broncos punish you if you make mistakes inside your own quarter. That's what Balmain did, and they paid the penalty.
There they certainly did. Balmain now having to defend as the Broncos get up to their own quarter line.
Yes, Kerrod Wallace once again from the back of the ruck. Mark a defence strong that time, and he's knocked to the ground. Mark Hone, a dummy half. He takes off, gets around Maguire, beats one, picks up 10 metres, gets away from Benny Elias. So he's picked up about 16 metres in that run. Back to Kerrod Wallace, out to Langer, turns it inside this time to Chris Johns, and Johns is only 5 metres short of the halfway line on the Brisbane side of it. Back it goes now to Langer. Langer drops the football off the end of the toe down to Gary Jack, turning to chase it, picking it up 10 out from his own goal line. He turns to face the music, and Kevin Wallace is down there. A few more Broncos arriving too to help put Gary Jack to the ground. Now he plays it to Steve O'Brien. Out it goes to Freeman, to Michael Neal, to Tim Brasher. Brasher trying to get through the gap too strong, and Brasher is pulled to the ground by Madison. Michael Neal knocks on at the back of the ruck. And, he's disgusted with himself too, Michael Neal. And the knock-on was there's no doubt about it.
It was a blatant knock-on, only a tiny one, but referee Bill Harrigan's picked it up. Had a good game, Harrow, this afternoon.
Sure has. Scrum to go down right on the Tigers' quarter line. And Harrigan making sure we've got no ball at the tunnel. Langer making saving every second he can as he comes up to the tunnel. Waiting for the feed, it's on, right out the back door of the Brisbane scrum. Out to Kevin Walters, it goes to Johns again. He gets around Neil, takes off, gets out of the block, still going. And he's only going to be 15 metres out when he gives it to Willie Kahn. Kahn takes off, Freeman again there to stop him 10 metres out from the Balmain goal line. Now it's Kevin Walters at dummy half. He gives it out to Dale Shearer. Shearer dummies, tries to go on his own, but he's pulled down 5 metres away from the Balmain goal line. Kieran Wallace, Gavin Allen trying to get rid of Parrish. Parrish too strong, and he's pulled him down 10 metres out from the Balmain goal line. Kieran Wallace again, he turns it back to Dowling. Dowling holds it up this time for Madison, charging forward. And Madison now 1 metre away from the Balmain goal line. Again, the Tigers in all sorts of bother. Kieran Wallace at dummy half, a long one back down to Langer. He gives it out to Dale Shearer. He stops, starts, has another look, tries to go again, but he's going to be wrapped up. They've got one left to go now, the Brisbane Broncos. They're only 8 metres away from the Balmain goal line. Kieran Wallace gives it across to Langer, drops it off the end of the toe, back into the in-goal area. It's a try! It's a dead set try! I don't know who's going to claim it.
Yeah, Hoff's got it.
Okay, Hoff's got it.
7'4" of him has dived for the ball. A planned move, a beautiful grubber kick by Alan Langer, and it looks like the minor premiership is going to go to the Brisbane Broncos. A beautiful grubber kick by Langer, and it was Hoff who claimed it. The touch judge has given the try. I'm not sure whether this ball was forced or not. Have a look at this.
Okay, coming through. Yes, he got his hand down to it. In downward motion. Paul Hoff, the try scorer.
Okay, the try's been given to Hoff.
And there she goes now. Yes, just got it in centimetres on it. If there's any paint on it, he scratched it off with his fingernail.
Ah, well, Hoff, Hoff, Hoff is the cry from the fans here. The Broncos 20, Balmain 10 with Paul Hoff in the 14th minute of the second half. And Hoff has scored, and a beautiful grubber kick by Alfie Langer. That's 20 points to 10, and that should be the end of the Tigers in this game here this afternoon. 20 points to 10, sideline eye, Tony Peters.
Well, Pete, there it is again. Michael Neal, the villain of the piece, punished for yet another mistake.
Yeah, the mistakes today. You can't do it inside your own territory.
Okay, this kick now to be taken by Dale Shearer, fair dinkum Hoff. It took his nail polish off that one. There was only centimetres, but Dale Shearer just outside the T-bar, smack dab on the line. And I'd say to be 24 metres out from the Balmain goal line. 20 points to 10 in favour of the Brisbane side over Balmain with this kick to come. What a game, Zorba.
Yeah, terrific game of football. Just when we thought Balmain were getting back into it at 12-10 after Freeman's try, 3 minutes into the second half. Here we are 12 minutes later, and the Broncos have gone in twice.
Okay, here's Dale Shearer. Total concentration. What can he do with this? We're right behind it. He gets it up. Oh, it's looking awful. And it goes to the left-hand side.
2 out of 5 for Dale Shearer, 20 to 10 to the Broncos. Let's check them for Footy tab on the Mitsubishi scoreboard. Tim Prentice.
Parramatta 12, North Sydney 10.
Brian Surtees.
Illawarra 20, Gold Coast 6.
Mark Cashman.
St George 22, Cronulla 6.
Tony McGay.
Newcastle 20, West 2.
Phil Tressida.
Eastern Suburbs 12, South Sydney 7.
Okay, back at Lang Park in Brisbane. We've got a restart of play by Ian McCann.
Yeah, straight across into the arms this time of Gavin Allen. And he starts to stretch out now, runs the ball right outside of his own quarter line, 26 metres away from the goal line. Brisbane's ended the ground. Willie Kahn from the back of the ruck too. He's going to be taken this time by Bruce Maguire and back slammed after picking up another 4 metres. Up the plate, Kerrod Walters once again a dummy half from that position. He takes off towards the centre of the ground. Picks up another 4 metres or so for the Brisbane Broncos. 34 away from the Brisbane goal line. Madison gives it back this time to G. G struggles to try and get up towards the halfway line. Still 6 metres short. Kerrod Walters gives it back to Mark Hone. And he charges now into Balmain territory with a beautiful strong run. He's up the plate. Back to Kerrod Walters. No mark of defence again for Kerrod Walters. Out to Terry Madison. Finds himself in the clear. He picks up Hancock out wide. Hancock goes back inside. Gets a kick on and Maguire goes up to take it for Balmain. But a penalty to the Balmain Tigers. 15 metres out from the Balmain goal line.
Well, this is going to be a minor premiership clincher, I feel sure, for Brisbane this afternoon. Brisbane will go to 29 points with this victory today if they can achieve it against Balmain, and that'll put them 4 points clear of 3 clubs, and these clubs will be Canberra, Penrith and Newcastle. So a terrific effort by Brisbane if they can wrap it up today, and Balmain will slip to 5th place and hanging on by their fingernails to that 5th spot.
Benny Elias, a dummy half, gives it out to Ed Med. The big man makes the bust, but he's dropped the football. And again, the Brisbane Broncos dive on the loose football via Kerrod Walters. He plays it now to Dale Shearer across to Hancock, tries to straighten up the play, pushes off one. Parrish comes at him to take him 2 metres over the halfway line in Brisbane territory. Plays it now to Kerrod Walters, but he's... who's he calling out? I thought he was going to call Matt Parrish out, but he's calling Hancock out.
Yeah, Hancock, who had possession of the football, pushing the man in the play the ball and getting up and, putting his hand on Parrish when he didn't have to, and that's a dead set penalty. Parrish was 1.5 yards away, not doing anything, and Hancock had possession of the football and just reached out and pushed him away.
Yeah,
he's got no right to put his hands on the marker, and he did just that, and that's a good penalty from Bill Harrigan. That's a petulant penalty that young Hancock's given away. That's silly. He's a brilliant winger. He doesn't need to do that.
Well, he's been pinched that time, but...
18 minutes gone into the second half, and it's 20-10, and Balmain need a converted try in the next 5 minutes to have any hope of making up this 10-point leeway.
Maguire plays it back now. It goes to Ed Med. Ed Med charging forward, 11 metres out from the Brisbane goal line. Come on, Tigers. Benny Elias, a dummy half. Freeman calling for the ball. He receives it out now to Michael Neal. He's got Wayne Pearce on the burst out wide, but Pearce going to be knocked down still, 15 out from the Brisbane goal line. And he'll get up there to play it, claiming they've lost the ball. He said, no, you get up to play it, Pearce. He does. Back to Elias, across to Freeman, back out to Neal. Throw Neal through the gap, has a look back, big Sirenen charges forward and he's put down 10 metres out from the line. Gary Jack, a dummy half to Freeman again. He's dangerous. He offloads back to Gary Jack. Jack's got a man out wide. He turns it to Tim Brasher. Back to Sirenen again. Sirenen back to Brasher, and Brasher has lost possession. And we've got little Alan Langer taking it for the Brisbane side, 11 metres out from the Broncos goal line.
Brisbane 20, Balmain 10 at Lang Park, and there are 20 minutes left for play. Sideline eye, Tony Peters.
I don't think Tim Brasher's going to have fond memories of his first match at Lang Park, Zorb. What an awful game for him.
Yeah, he certainly hasn't had a good one. Gee, the Brisbane forwards this afternoon, and especially Andrew G, Gavin Allen and Greg Dowling have had terrific games. Let's check those tight scores around the grounds for Footy Tab on the Mitsubishi scoreboard. Tim Prentice at North Sydney.
Parramatta 12, North Sydney 10.
Brian Surtees.
Illawarra 20 lead, Gold Coast 10, kick to come for Gold Coast.
Mark Cashman.
St George 22, Cronulla 6.
Tony McGay.
Newcastle 20, Wests 2.
Phil Tressida.
Eastern Suburbs 13, South Sydney 7.
Okay, back at Lang Park in Brisbane. Touch judge in now.
Yeah, we got a bit of a scuffle with Freeman on the ground. So was Kevin Walters that time. Langer was there too. It'll be interesting to see what he does. He's calling out one of the Bronco players. If it's Dale Shearer again, it is Dale Shearer again. This is the 3rd or 4th caution for Mr. Shearer. And it'll be interesting to see what the referee does. I don't think he's going to put him in the bin for 5 or 10, but it'll be a penalty. He's already given it to the Brisbane side, believe it or not. Balmain taking up their positions, and he's just having a word with Dale Shearer. I would say that this is his last chance. He's having a heck of a conference out there. Come on, Billy, get on with it. The penalty stands to the Brisbane side, and it was for offside play, Peter.
Okay, penalty to the Brisbane Broncos. 19 minutes left for play here at Lang Park, and Peter Jackson coming on for the Brisbane Broncos. Coming to the sideline, and he'll be in this game in a few moments.
There's the penalty kick taken, the free kick now by Kerrod Walters. He does so, gives it straight back to the captain, Dowling, leading by example. He's going to be knocked down on the Balmain quarter line by Maguire. He's up to play it. Kerrod Walters again gives it out, this time to Terry Madison. Runs very closely to the ground, hunched over run, but he's up now to play it. Kerrod Walters again gives it back to Mark Hone. He goes over the top of one. Edmed brings him down in a classic tackle. He'll play it once again. Kerrod Walters across to Langer. They're dangerous again. Langer stops, starts to go again. This time he's creamed by Matt Parrish and also Benny Elias and also Wayne Pearce. And Pearce has actually thrown a blow.
And it's on.
Yeah, it's on. It's only pushy-shovey time. No one's thrown any blows at this stage. Touch judges in again. This is going a little bit too far now, boys. This is real kindergarten stuff.
Okay, the penalty's already gone against Elias, and it was Alan Langer in possession of the football, and Langer was tackled, and Freeman was over the top of him, and now we're going to get a situation where the penalty has already gone to the Brisbane side, and Pearce complaining to the referee about something that's happened there, and it's Freeman who's been called out now.
Well, I don't think Freeman can be called out.
No, it's Tim Brasher.
Okay, that's better because Freeman didn't do anything. He was over the top of the man. Brasher going back to his position. And the penalty, I think, I'm sure. Did you see the arm of Harrigan go up?
I know Terry Madison hit Wayne Pearce from behind, which was not a good act. And there was plenty of pushing and shoving going on. The penalty to the Broncos, right in front of the uprights. Dale Shearer will add the extras for the Brisbane side. Let's check the scores for Footy Tab on the Mitsubishi scoreboard. Tim Prentice.
Parramatta 12, Parramatta 12, North Sydney 10.
Brian Surtees, how long to go there?
It's all over some minutes ago. Illawarra 20 has beaten Gold Coast 12.
20 points to 12, full-time at the Wollongong Showground. Mark Cashman at Cogra.
St George 22, Cronulla 6.
Tony McGay at Campbelltown.
Newcastle 20, West 2.
And Phil Tressiter at Henson.
The Eastern Suburbs 13, South Sydney 7.
Okay, right now, Dale Shearer placing the ball. He's got 2 out of 5 today. He wouldn't be happy with his kicking performance today, but the Broncos have scored 4 tries to 2 against Balmain and lead by 20 to 10. And this is a minor premiership clinching game for the Brisbane Broncos. That's an historic occasion for them.
Sure is. And this kick now for Dale Shearer's only 10 metres out. And he's more or less in front. If anything, he's a little bit to the left-hand side. He comes in now and he hits it, punches it straight over the maroon dot here.
Okay, well, they're only now, in this game of football, 17 minutes away from their first ever win over the Balmain Tigers. They lead by 22 points to 10 with a penalty goal from Dale Shearer. So they are now just 13 minutes away from an historic win over the Balmain Tigers. 3 from 6 to Dale Shearer and 22 points to 10 to the Brisbane Broncos. Sideline eye, Tony Peters.
No place for Gene Miles in this defensive-minded pack at this stage, Pete.
Certainly not, but I think they find a place for him out in the back line.
I think they'll find a place for him all right. Now it's back to Kieran Wallace across to Langer. Given out to Terry Madison. He is knocked down centre field. He's 14 metres away from the Brisbane goal line. Kieran Wallace again across. It goes to Langer. Out this time to Dowling. Dowling getting up right up to his own quarter line. He's literally thrown towards it. Kieran Wallace across to Andrew G. Oh, the arm came up then too and got rid of Parrish, but a strong run from Andrew G. A block-busting run that time. Kieran Wallace. Langer a long pass out to Hancock, tries to get around one. Grant gets away from Neil, starts to go towards the centre of the ground. My goodness, he's strong, and he takes off, and he's only 10 metres from the halfway
line.
Grant,
he beat 4 players and lost 4 yards.
He's still strong. He pushed them all
strong,
off.
But he goes backwards a lot of the time.
There he goes. He's been going forward and up this afternoon, let me tell you.
He has, but not on that occasion.
Gary Jack knocked down 30 metres out from his own goal line by G.
He's had a big game, Andrew G.
He sure has. Benny Elias flicking it through his feet. An impossible position for Wayne Pearce to make any ground, and he's knocked down in a beautiful tackle by Terry Madison on the Balmain quarter line. Granted dummy half across to Freeman, wide out to Benny Elias, then out now to Steve O'Brien. Kevin Wallace has got hold of him in company too with Chris Johns.
14 minutes to go, and they've got Balmain's measure here. Balmain early in the second half looked capable of doing something, but Broncos have come back strongly. This is a great win for them, and I think it's about 11 on the trot. Here's Sheridan with a big burst.
Yeah, good burst downfield, back to Neil, gives a good pass out to Freeman. Freeman takes off, he's around 1 or 2. He gets the ball back to Benny Elias. Great stuff out there to James Grant. He pinches his head back, and they go, and they go, and they go, and James Grant scores, run to the post for the Balmain side.
Balmain come back with a brilliant try. That is the Grace Brothers try of the weekend. And big Paul Sheridan right on his own side of halfway. He burst through the tackle of Terrence Walters, and then he looked for support, and he found it in Ginger Meggs. Michael Neal, he got it on to Gary Freeman. Freeman got around Hoff. Hoff just ankle tapped him. He stood in the tackle, got it to Elias, and Elias a beautiful pass onto James Grant, who raced away from Michael Hancock and scored right near the uprights. 22 to 14 now, with a kick to come right in front of the uprights.
And the kicker, McCann for the Balmain side. Well, if he can put this one over.
What a terrific try.
Fantastic try. And we've still got 13 minutes in this game, so it's up to now Ian McCann, the big lanky centre from Tiger Town, as he comes in now amidst the boos, and he's got the 2 points. Beauty.
2 from 2 for Ian McCann, 22-16 here at Lang Park. A terrific game of football. The Tigers won't lay down. We didn't expect them to. Sideline eye, Tony Peters.
Kerrod Walters-Peters lasted for 68 minutes. That ankle's given way. He's coming from the field. Peter Jackson's on.
Okay, Peter Jackson on, and we'll see the make-up of the pack. Let's check the scores on Footy Tab on the Mitsubishi scoreboard. Tim Prentice.
With 12 minutes remaining, Parramatta 12 lead, Norths 10.
Brian Surtees. Full time there, 20-12. Mark Cashman at Cogra.
St George 28, Cronulla 6.
That's a thrashing. Tony McGay.
Newcastle 24, West 2.
That's a thrashing. Phil Tressida.
Eastern Suburbs 17, South Sydney 7.
Okay, so the Roosters are going to win that one. Okay, back at Lang Park in Brisbane, it's Balmain in possession, 15 metres out from their own goal line. They need a converted try to grab a draw here at Lang Park in a terrific game of football. And 1 point for them at this time would be sensational for their semi-final chances.
Back to Benny Elias, and he kicks downfield from the back of the ruck. Hoff coming across to take possession of the football. Very carefully too, I might add, right back on his quarter line. He starts his run, tries to go around James Grant and company, but eventually he's knocked down 8 metres short of the halfway line. Hancock a dummy half across to Kevin Wallace. Hancock on the wrap around. They need to pull him down. Edmed's got hold of him and he won't let him go this time. He's pulled down 5 metres short of the halfway line. Terry Madison across to Hone. Hone taken. Beautiful pass back to Gavin Allen, who split him again. He offloads to Langer. Langer's pass to Kevin Wallace was brilliant. He takes off down the far side. He links up out wide now with Willie Kahn. Kahn races down, gets a kick up over the top, but no Bryans there to clean up for the Balmain side, right back in his own in goal.
Well, 33,000 stood there. Brilliant attack there by the Broncos.
Oh, my
Gee, this is a terrific game of football. Shame there's got to be a loser in this one. It's 4 tries to 3 to the Brisbane Broncos, 22-16, and Balmain refusing to hoist the white flag. The mighty Tigers are in there, but they're doing it tough at the moment. 6 points down, and they have got exactly 11 minutes to grab those 6 points and field a draw in this game. Here's Huff taking it up, and he's crashed by Sirinen. 30 metres out from the Balmain Tigers goal line. Can the Broncos head in for a field goal and extend it to 7? They should, you know.
Now it's gone to Gavin Allen. He makes the bust again, right down now into Balmain territory, 15 metres away from the Tigers goal line. It's back to Madison, goes out to Langer wide. Kevin Wallace on to Peter Jackson. The pass is touched over the top, so they got 6 more. Hancock goes back for it. Oh, James Grant, he couldn't get anywhere near him, and he takes off going across the far side. Oh, he stormed straight over the top of him. He's going for the corner. He's still going.
What a run.
Oh, great run. And you said he wasn't going bloody forward.
He did that time.
Now it's gone back to Willie Kahn, and he's over for a try. Yes, he is. Willie Kahn.
What a hat-trick. Willie Kahn's got a hat-trick. What a try to Kahn. But it was the other winger, Hancock, who set it up. Magnificent effort by Hancock. Brilliant run by Hancock. And eventually it was Willie Kahn scoring the try for the Brisbane Broncos. But Hancock, he ran backwards. He got away from James Grant for about the 30th time today. He got away from McCann, and then he started to run straight. And he went straight through Benny Elias and Sirinen, and he careered away from Matt Parrish. And finally he was tackled by Gary Jack, who's had a great game. But then a quick play the ball, and it was the Brisbane Broncos scoring the match-winning try from dummy half, Willie Kahn, and he got the ball down over his head for try number 3 for him, and that's wrapped it up. What a game, 26-16 to the Brisbane Broncos, 10 minutes out from full time.
Okay, we're nearly hoarse here at Lang Park, but we've got Hancock leaving the field now. He's groggy or he's...
Gee, that was a great run.
Oh, sensational run. And now we've got Dale Shearer from inside the Balmain quarter line. We still love you, Tigers. Let me tell you, it's been a sensational game of rugby league. As we
you've
see.
got to admire the other mob.
I do. Dale Shearer. What's he doing? It's waved away again. I do. But
3 out of 7 today for Dale Shearer. Sideline eye, Tony Peters.
Well, what about that for the success story of the season, Pete? He came into first grade against Newcastle in round 6 with 14 tries. He's now the leading try scorer in the Winfield Cup.
Okay, there it is. First from Tony Peters, the leading try scorer in the Winfield Cup, Willie Kahn. And that makes him, as Tony Peters said then, 14 tries in the Winfield Cup, and that's a great effort from that young fellow. Let's check the scores on the Mitsubishi scoreboard around the grounds, and we've got a player going off here, and it's Andy Courier coming on, and James Grant's been sacked.
Yep,
James Grant sacked for not getting hold of his opposite, and he hasn't got him all day, and that is James Grant. Let's check the scores for Footy Tab. Tim Prentice at North Sydney.
7 minutes remain. Parramatta 12, North 10.
Okay, Brian Surtees has got full time there, 20 points to 12. Mark Cashman at Cogra.
Less than 5 to go here. St George 28, Cronulla 6.
Tony McGay.
Newcastle 28 with a kick to come in front, West 2.
Phil Tressor at Henson Park.
Eastern Suburbs 19, South Sydney 7.
Okay, so that's a big win to Eastern Suburbs there at Henson Park. And here at Lang Park in Brisbane, it's the Brisbane Broncos in control and in possession of the football.
Terry Madison, a dummy half from the back of the ruck, trying to go forward. Alan Cairn on now for the Brisbane side. Alan Cairn on for the Brisbane side at dummy half. He now gives a pass across to Langer. Langer gets his kick downfield up over the head of jumping Jimmy Jack, who goes back to pick it up 12 from his own goal line. He turns, comes down, gets around Kevin Walters, and he's knocked down on his own quarter line on the far side by the hat-trick man, Willie Gunn. Now across to Ben Elias. A long pass sees Wayne Pearce coming into the attack. He steps Peter Jackson beautifully. Offloads outside now to Andy Courier. And Courier now has taken, and up go the cheers for Dale Shearer to take him up the plat. Back now it goes to Ben Elias. A long pass out this time into the arms.
Gary McFarlane on.
McFarlane on now for Balmain too. Now we see Bruce Maguire trying to break the line of defence from the Brisbane side. But to the ground he goes. Menialas from the back of the ruck. He gives it out to Wayne Pearce again, trying to go forward. He's wrapped up 10 metres short of the halfway line. One tackle left to go to the Brisbane side. Michael Neal across to Benny Elias. Elias getting another kick downfield. Shearer there to take the football out in the wing position. Dale Shearer. He goes infield and he stopped 10 metres short of the halfway line.
Greg, I'm finding it very hard to separate Andrew G, Greg Dowling and Gavin Allen for our 2GB Mad Barry's Man of the Match award this afternoon. They've had sensational games for the Brisbane Broncos.
They've had great games, Peter. I agree. Now it goes across to Kevin Walters. Out to Chris Johns. It is well and truly wrapped up 10 metres short of the halfway line in Brisbane territory. Kevin Walters a dummy half this time. He sends it back across to Langer. Langer out now to Jackson. Jackson trying to get out wide of Timmy Brasher. He can't do that, and eventually he's taken still 10 metres short of the halfway line in Brisbane's territory. It's played this time to Hoff. He tries to go forward, but well and truly wrapped up by Michael Neal. Terry Madison a dummy half. Again getting a kick in from the back of the ruck down to the centre of the ground. Gary Jack, an awkward bounce for him. Goes back to pick it up 5 out from his own goal line. Plenty of Bronco defenders down there. And they are right on top of Gary Jack, 11 metres out from the Balmain goal line. Freeman giving it across this time to Stephen O'Brien. And O'Brien taken by Gavin Allen over the top. Plays it back to Elias across to Freeman. Good pass out to McFarlane, offloading to Wayne Pearce, then to McCann. McCann going back inside. G is there to hold him up, not strong enough to put him down. I don't know, he's got enough puff left in him, but Freeman again, giving it out to Maguire, back to Freeman, a long pass out to Timmy Brasher wide. Brasher tries to go down the far flank, but again taken beautifully by Chris Johns, 28 metres out from the Balmain goal line.
Okay, the scoreline here at Lang Park, into the final 5 now, and the Broncos, 26-16 over the Balmain side.
And a penalty now given to the Balmain side. Centre field, 30 metres out from the Balmain goal line. And we had Dowling down there, Terry Madison. They went up over the top, but the ball taken by Andy Courier. Courier going forward, getting up the play it now. Back it goes to Benny Elias. He gives it out to Wayne Pearce. He looked for his wingman, and there was no one there, and he's knocked down 10 metres into the Brisbane territory. Goes across to Freeman. Out once again to Michael Neal. This time on to Maguire. Maguire gets up to go again after one player going over the top, and it was Dowling.
And he's hurt himself, Dowling, and he tried to take his head off there.
I think he hurt his shoulder, Peter. Gary Jack tries to make a break, beats one or two, gives it back to Benny Elias. Then on to Andy Courier. Wayne Pearce for a run. Andy Courier backing up. He's going to try and get around Dale Shearer. Shearer's got him, but he turns it back inside to Edmed. Edmed's a big man. He takes off towards the centre of the ground once again, beating one or two, but eventually pulled down inside the Brisbane quarter line. Benny Elias across to Freeman again. Oh, it's hit Maguire on the shoulder, straight into the arms of Kevin Walters, and Brisbane back in possession of the football.
He shouldn't have been out there, Bruce Maguire. Let's check those scores for Footy Tab on the Mitsubishi scoreboard. Tim Prentice.
Parramatta 12, North Sydney 10.
Mark Cashman. Mark Cashman at Cogra.
full-time here. St George 28, Cronulla 6.
Okay, Tony McGay.
Newcastle 34, kick to come, West 2.
Phil Tressida.
Eastern Suburbs 21, South Sydney 13.
South Sydney 13. Okay, 21 to 13 there. Okay, let's check this game here. Final few moments now. We're into the final 3 minutes here at Lang Park in Brisbane, and it's Brisbane 26 leading Balmain 16.
Andrew G in possession just short of the halfway line in Brisbane territory. It's going to be played back. It goes now to Langer. Langer, a good pass across to Gavin Allen. Around 1 or 2, gets his pass to Langer again, who keeps it alive out wide to Dale Shearer. Takes it on one bounce, takes it, he takes off too much pace for McCann. But eventually they catch up with him. He throws the ball back and it's kicked straight over the touchline by Kevin Walters. Play the ball now to the Balmain side.
Well, all over for Balmain, but very gallant today. And Brisbane, of course, Wally Lewis, the news is the plaster will come off Lewis's broken arm in the last weekend of the Premiership, and he will be available for the semi-finals. Gene Miles, of course, to come back into the side. So they're going to be a heck of a force to be reckoned with now that they have cemented a spot as probably minor premiers, most definitely in the top 3. And they're now the side to beat in the Winfield Cup, the Brisbane Broncos.
Andy Courier in possession and trying to get off the mark. He turns the ball back inside. Picked up there by Michael Neal. 6 tackles ruled by referee Harrigan. He throws the ball out the back door. Nobody wants the football. McFarlane goes back to pick it up. And very uncharacteristic of Balmain on that occasion. And McFarlane's dropped it. Picked up now by Kevin Walters. Brisbane on the attack once again. It goes wide out there to Chris Johns, but he's taken very high too. But legal tackle by Brucey Maguire. Getting up the play up, Terry Madison once again a dummy half. They're wasting as much time as they can. Back now to Dale Shearer. Shearer trying to get through the gap. Benny Elias has got hold of him, but he offloads back to Willie Kahn. And he goes through the gap back down into Balmain's quarter area. Up the play up, Terry Madison. Back it goes to Dowling. Dowling offloads once again to Madison, out to Willie Kahn, to Langer. Kevin Walters coming into the attack, and he's going to be held up 10 metres out from the Balmain goal line.
Gee, Dowling and Allen and G, fantastic games. Here's Allen now.
Yeah, charging forward, only 5 metres out, finishing off the way he started. He'll get up the play it. Terry Madison from the back of the ruck tries to go forward, back to Gavin Allen. He knocks it this time to G. G offloads out wide, but it's been knocked down by Brasher, and the knock-on will go down, so will the scrum.
Okay, less than a minute to go here at Lang Park, 26-16 to the Broncos. Let's check them around the grounds. Tim Prentice.
Full time at North Sydney Oval, Parramatta 12, North Sydney 10.
Okay, so we've got full time there at Parramatta and Norths at North Sydney Oval. Parramatta 12 have beaten Norths 10. Illawarra 20 have beaten the Gold Coast 12. St George 28 have beaten Cronulla 6. Tony McGay.
Injury time, Newcastle 34, West 2.
Is that full time, Tony?
No, Peter, injury time.
Okay, in injury time there. Paul Hoff going for. Here's another try, and he scored it. Paul Hoff has scored another try. A grubber kick through by Hoff, and he's fallen on the ball for a try. That makes it 30-16 now, and they are rubbing it in, the Broncos. Right on full time, 30 points to 16. Paul Hoff has gone in for his second try, and the Broncos have scored 6 tries to 3 to run away with this game. 6 tries to 3. Paul Hoff there getting the ball off his centre three-quarter in Chris Johns, going for the corner, rubber kicking. Gary Jack kicked it towards the sideline, but Hoff grabbed it and scored a fair try. 30-16. Okay, let's go to Phil Tressida at Henson Park.
All over here with Eastern Suburbs beating South Sydney 21 points to 13.
21-13. Okay, we've only got a full time at Campbelltown and here to go. 30-16 here to the Broncos. Tony McGay, have you got full time at Campbelltown?
Full time right now, Peter. Newcastle 34 have beaten West 2.
Okay, 34-2. That's a thrashing.
Massacre. Okay, Dale Shearer, 24 metres out from the Balmain goal line. And he will certainly, they will remember this one. This is a thorough hiding. They've waited five games to get him, and well, they finally got him, and they've done it in fine fashion. But here comes the kick from Shearer. Again, he's pushing it well away to the right-hand side. No goal. And
there's the full-time siren. Dale Shearer's ended up with only 3 from 8, but the Broncos have done it. 30-16 over the Balmain Tigers, and what a game of football here at Lang Park in Brisbane, and a magnificent victory to the Brisbane Broncos, and a fine achievement by the Broncos today. And they've got footballs to kick into the crowds. the maroon and yellow footballs. Greg Dowling coming right in front of us, and he's kicked it into the crowd, and they're thanking their fans this afternoon. And the big salute from Greg Dowling. A tremendous victory from the Brisbane Broncos today. A tremendous victory from the Broncos. They're kicking footballs into the crowd here at Lang Park in Brisbane. A mighty effort today by the Brisbane Broncos, and certainly it was their forwards who paved the way for this victory this afternoon, and the Brisbane Broncos forwards this afternoon, magnificent. Gavin Allen, Greg Dowling and Andrew G. Monumental games from those players, and Gavin Allen is our 2GB Mad Barry's man of the match, and we've got him down there on the Lang Park this afternoon. Gavin, congratulations.
Thanks very much, Peter.
A terrific win by you guys, and, well, a mighty achievement against a side you haven't beaten before.
Yeah, that's right. We knew we had to get out there and give it our all. If there were any chance to go on in the semis, we had to beat Balmain, because they were going to be one of the 3 sides or 5 sides into the semi-finals. So psychologically, we had to beat them, Peter.
Well, you must be thrilled with your form this year, Gavin. You really have cemented a permanent spot in the side, and there must be people in Sydney that saw you at St George and just wonder what happened to you down there.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a lot more committed footballer than I was when I first went down to Sydney. I think I'm I was still learning the game, and I'm starting to find out what it takes to play full-time first-grade football each week.
Did you ever dream that you would make the Broncos side and make the impression that you have? Is this what you've worked for?
Yeah, well, that's what I've worked for. I've set my goals to make first grade, and it's really good to see the team so far on top of the ladder.
Well, you've almost clinched the minor premiership now, and I think there's a feeling in this side that you can maybe go all the way with Gene Miles out, Wally Lewis out. A lot of guys stood up there, were counted today. What an inspiration from your captain, Greg Dowling.
Yeah, that's right. Greg, he keeps us all together. He's a real man's man, and we sort of knock around with him, and after the game we'll have a few beers with him, and well, he's really one of the boys, GD, and we all look up to him.
Well, you had a great game. He had a wonderful game, and Andrew G too in the second row kept hitting in magnificent tackles, and the Broncos' soft underbelly from yesteryear seems to be no longer.
Yeah, well, that's what we worked hard to do in the off-season, is to get rid of that, as people would say, that yellow belly streak, and I think we've done it. So we're pretty happy, and I think Coach Wayne Bennett's pretty happy too.
Well, congratulations on your great game.
Thank you a lot, Peter.
Yeah, good on you. Gavin Allen there, a tremendous performance today by that fellow, and he certainly is our Mad Barry's 2GB player of the match this afternoon. A tremendous performance by Gavin Allen. 2 points this afternoon to Greg Dowling and 1 to Andrew G. So 3 of the forwards in the much maligned Brisbane Broncos pack have scooped the pool in the 2GB Mad Barry's Player of the Year contest this afternoon here at Lang Park in Brisbane. Terrific performance by the Brisbane Broncos. They were deserved winners by 30 points to 16. Tries to the Broncos. 3 to Willie Kahn this afternoon, a hat-trick for him. 2 to Paul Hoff, 1 to Kevin Walters, 3 goals from 8 attempts to Dale Shearer, and for Balmain, tries to James Grant, Steve O'Brien, and also to Gary Freeman, and 2 goals from 2 attempts to Ian McCann, none from 3 to Tim Brasher. Reserve grade 30-0 to the Brisbane Broncos over Balmain. So they'll celebrate long and loud tonight, the Brisbane Broncos, and deservedly so through. Let's just go through those full-time scores for you. Parramatta 12 defeated Norths 10. Illawarra 20 beat Gold Coast 12. St George 28 over Cronulla 6. That's a stunning upset win. The enormity of it is anyway. Newcastle 34, West 2, and Eastern Suburbs 21 beat South Sydney 13. Let's hop into our full-time summaries. Tim Prentice at North Sydney Oval.
Where the Parramatta Eels kept their slender semi-final hopes alive, they beat North Sydney 12 points to 10 in a real thriller. The scoring details: Parramatta's 12 points came from tries by Jason Bell and Brett Kenny. Andrew Leeds landed 2 goals. North's points came from tries by Paul Conlon, Kerry Bowstead, and Conlon was successful with 1 shot at goal. The scrums, they went North Sydney's way 8-4, and the penalties went Parramatta's way 10-7. Well, it was a gripping game of rugby league, perhaps worthy of a semi-final. Both sides played themselves to an absolute standstill as they struggled to stay in contention for the final five. North led 8-6 at half-time, and they went further ahead with a Paul Conlon penalty goal just 1 minute into the second session. In the 46th minute, that man Sterling, the guy who did so much last week against the Broncos but finished without anything to show for it, that man Sterling, he changed the direction of this game when he grabbed the ball in the last tackle close to the North's line. He chose not to kick. The defence didn't know what was going on. He just sent a very cleverly delayed pass to his great mate Brett Kenny. He charged over under the post for what ended up being the winning try. It was converted by fullback Leeds. Parramatta led 12 points to 10 at that stage. But 9 minutes from the break, Norths were hammering away. They had a chance to shoot for penalty in the Parramatta quarter. Skipper Tony Ray for the Bears chose to kick for touch. That particular set of 6 came to nothing. Parramatta got the ball back, and a golden opportunity for at least North to grab a 12-all draw was lost. Probably reading a lot more about that before the week's out. It really was, as I said, a marvellous game of rugby league, a super contest between two very, very even sides.
Is Brian Surtees back?
I thought that North Sydney probably had the better of the play. They're marginally the better side. They came up with some very nice movements down the middle, out wide, but they just couldn't come up with a try that mattered most. There were marvellous players on the field for Parramatta, particularly in defence. Their forward pack, they were just fantastic today. They covered themselves in glory. They had to do something very special to stay alive, and